Let's get it. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the SchuZ Show. I'm your host, SchuZ Schumaker. I hope you guys are having an incredible Friday wherever you guys currently are at. But to kick off today's show, I've got a very special guest. It's a man coming off of a great win just a couple weeks ago. He also is now 12-0 in his career with 8 KOs. That's Umar Dzambekov. Umar, appreciate you for taking time to come on today, man.
For having me.
Absolutely. Well, I know you're back home right now. Just take us through what it's been like kind of recovering from the fight, being back home with family. How's that been?
I hear you double right now.
Oh, you're hearing me down here? I'll cut to a break real
Yeah.
quick. Let's figure it out. One sec, folks. Welcome back to the SchuZ Show, everyone. Just wanted a quick test run. Can you hear me all good, Umar?
Yeah, I hear you.
All right, perfect. So let's get right back to it, everybody. So let's restart this off real quickly. So with that being said, I've got a very special guest joining me today. He's a man with a 12-0 record, 8 KOs. That's Umar Dzambekov. Umar, appreciate you for taking time to come on today, man.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So you were back home right now. You were in America for a long time, training camps and everything. What's it been like being back home right now?
Absolutely amazing. I was away for 6 months now since January, and yeah, June I got back home after 2 fights. So yeah, it's absolutely nice.
That's awesome. So let's get into your most recent fight. You had a step-up fight against Rumar and Gula. Obviously, it was a great performance for yourself. 77-75 was the closest scorecard. The other two read 79-73 and then 80-72. When you reflect back on that fight now, I'm sure you rewatched it. You have an idea what you did there. What's your thoughts on that performance?
Well, during the fight, I mean, I saw myself winning every round, so I didn't see any difficulties, kind of, or like, let's say I was in control of the fight. That's how I felt,
Agree.
and yeah, it went everything the way we kind of expected. Of course, I was going for a stoppage as well if it would have worked out, but yeah, I didn't want to rush anything, and I think I cracked him twice. But yeah, I got the decision.
That 77-75 scorecard was really a little odd to myself when it came out. When you heard that scorecard, what went through your mind?
Not much, to be honest. Every judge
Okay.
sees it kind of different way. But I think the first scorecard, which one was it? Eighty
I think, yeah,
72.
80-72 is the first one,
Yeah, I
correct.
think that one was right. And worst case, 79-73. That was all right. But yeah, I mean, some judges see their own way, but it's okay. I mean, I saw myself winning, and I won that fight.
When you go through that fight, and obviously you always want to grow and get better from them, what's some of the biggest things you looked at and you said, you know what, this area I can improve on?
Well, with my last fight,
Correct. Yep.
there is much more that I can improve on, definitely. And also in my training camp, there were things like I had kind of some issues, and I'm 100% sure I can do a lot better.
Okay.
So, like if I think of specific things right now, there's not much I could say because I know in all of the things I did, I can do it just a lot better.
All right. That was supposed to be a step up fight for yourself. A lot of people looked at that and said, you know what, this could be your toughest challenge yet. You got through them quite easily. Did that give you more confidence now moving forward with whoever your opposition will be?
Definitely, yeah. It was a good opponent. It was a good experience for me.
Right.
Even though it looked maybe easy outside, it was a very good fight against the experienced opponent, and definitely it was a step up. And I look forward to any other opponent in my future fights.
All right. Well, Umar, I want people to get to know your story a little bit more because you have quite the journey to get to where you're at. Your childhood was kind of hectic. At the age of 6, you ended up moving, fleeing to Austria. Walk us through that entire childhood for yourself because that had to be crazy. You're a young kid having to move countries, you're invading or leaving a fleeing a war. All the stuff's going on as a young kid. What was that like?
So basically, 2003 is when when my whole family flew to Austria from Chechnya, back
Right.
home when Russia and Chechnya had war. And yeah, since 2003, I actually have been living in Austria. And I was going to school here. I was raised here. I learned the German language. So it wasn't always easy, I'd say, because as a little kid coming to a whole different country, not
Right.
speaking the language, even though I caught it up very quick as a little kid. It wasn't easy, but I'm happy to have my life had this way because it brought me here to where I am, and it formed my personality and everything the way it is. And I think it was a big benefit for me.
Now, were
So
you able to remember too much of what was going on at that point, or were you at such a young age where kind of just like, okay, let's kind of go follow my parents, see where they're leading us?
no, definitely. I remember everything. I
Okay.
mean, it's so much, I won't be even able to tell you everything right now.
Right.
But yeah, as a kid, I went to school. I was like already with the age of 5, 6, doing like 4, 5 different kind of discipline of sports. And I was doing judo. I was playing soccer. I was doing how do you call that? That weightlifting, snatching. What is
Yeah,
it?
yeah, lifting,
Yeah,
yep.
I was that doing that kind of stuff. So my dad was a boxer as well.
Right.
Basically, just grew up with boxing. There was not a point in my life where I remember I was not boxing. And yeah, with 10 years, I had my first amateur fight. And yeah, now I'm 27 years old, 17 years later, and still working towards that one goal.
What's impressive
And
about you
in between, I mean, in between, I had so many different things. I lived in England for a while.
mm,
I've had ups and downs, like kind of like a I mean, I wouldn't say I had like a tough life and act tough. I'm not that kind of guy. Thank God I grew up good. I had a nice childhood, even though it wasn't easy.
mhm,
But it was everything the way it is. And as I said, it made my personality as it is. And so I kept going in Austria, even though it's not really a popular country for boxing.
right.
But at the end of the day, I knew I had to go to the States or somewhere to, yeah, to become better and to improve in boxing. And that's what I did with the age of 24. And yeah, I've been living there for the last 3 years.
You know, what's impressive about you is that you've been able to learn and adapt to so many different languages. Now, I know you speak fluently in English. Obviously, we're doing that right now. You obviously speak where German and Austria. You speak so many different languages. How have you been able to acclimate yourself and pick up so many different languages so easily?
Well, maybe I just had it easier because I learned it when I was at a younger age. German, I
Right,
just learned when I was 5, 6 years old, going to school. My mother language, Chechnya, I grew up with it. Everyone at home always spoke it, and we always speak it until this day. And English. So, as I said, I went to school in England like for a couple of months. I learned that language. I picked it up very quickly, and movies, games, social
right.
media, and everything, all of that made it easier for me to practice and to know the language. And but of course, speaking with the people and then talking with them and then having that conversation is a totally different thing than just watching videos. So when I
Right.
uh, moved to California in 2024, it was At the beginning, it was a little bit complicated, but I picked it up very quickly, and now I'm comfortable talking in English as well. So I speak, let's say, three languages, and my Russian isn't really good, so I barely speak any Russian. Just
Okay.
heads up, letting know everyone who wants to talk Russian with me.
All right. For so many people, their entire life is spent in one country. Maybe they go visit them or travel for trips or whatever the case may be. You've had experience of actually living in so many different places now in your life for extended periods of time, and you're only 27 years old. How has that helped shape you into the person that you are today?
Well, I'd say it's very important. This world is so big. There's so
Mm,
many different cultures and all these people. And I'm glad, and how to say that I'm kind of blessed that I was able to travel that kind of places through boxing, and God gave me the ability to it, and
mhm,
I'm just taking advantage of that. And yeah, but at the end of the day, I'm someone, I love my family and I like to live with them. So
mm,
far away from them when I'm in California. Um, but yeah, I could see so many things, and I could see where it is good, where it is bad, and how the people are. So what I know for sure, definitely, is that you can't throw all people in kind of, how should I say that in English? It's not always you can't.
into one bucket, kind of.
Yeah, kind of.
Right.
Everyone's different. You got good and bad everywhere. That's what I want to
Yeah.
say.
All right, so I have not experienced a lot of the cultures you've been in so far in your life. So I just want to ask you this then. When you look at the different cultures you've been a part of in your life, what is your
Yeah.
favorite part and your least favorite part about all the different cultures, whether that be from Chechnya, that'd be Austria, England, and then America? You got to give us your favorite and the worst part of each culture when you're part of them.
I wouldn't want to do that because I don't know. That be good and bad things, and I can't even remember them right now. For example, let's take an easy, simple thing. In Austria, everyone is kind of like they don't want to deal with anyone. They just do their own thing. It's just like I just do my thing and that's it. Just leave me alone. That's that vibe Austrians
Okay.
give you. And in California, like in America, California is like everyone's really like happy and like all cool. How's it going? How are you? Everyone asks you that kind of thing, even though
Mm,
it's like just two, 3 words.
right.
But I feel like in general, like the people in California seem like more happy. I don't know, maybe it's the sunshine and all that. But that's like one thing,
Okay.
but it's nothing good. It's nothing bad. For me, it's good because automatically you're in a good mood when someone is like in like happy and nice and friendly to
Right.
you. But also, I'm used to growing up here, people just minding their own business.
Mm,
So if someone is not really friendly to me or doesn't smile or doesn't ask me how I am, it's okay for me as well. That's
all
like
right.
one thing. And England, for example, I mean, it's nothing to do with the culture, but what I did like there was the rainy weather. I'm
Yeah.
not really like that kind of person who likes that weather. So in my mind, I was like, I have to go to America, to Los Angeles. I love the weather. I love the palm trees, and definitely, I know boxing is very highly appreciated there.
Hmm. All right. So you obviously talk about the aspect where you're for a large portion of your time, obviously depends on training camps and fights. You're away from family. How have you learned to deal with it? I'm sure it's overall become a little bit more, you've been able to handle it probably better as you've gotten older, but still, how do you handle staying away from family for long extended periods of time?
To reach no secret, I mean, I got no choice. I'll say I
Right.
just see it as a job. I have to go away and take care of business, and I do that.
In terms of boxing, you talk about the fact that your dad was a boxer and you've now grown up almost your entire life have been a part of boxing. But when did you,
Mhm.
would you say that you kind of settled down and said, okay, you know what? This is now my passion. I want to be a boxer. I'm not going to focus on these other sports. I'm going to go all in on boxing. When was that for yourself?
I see around the age of 18,
Okay.
sometime like that. Before that, my dad was like, um, I mean, there were like 2 years in between where he didn't really come to my fights. That we had like kind of an agreement. Um, but before that, my dad was like at all of my fights, and it was like I always wanted to impress my dad. That was my main goal. And after that, I was like, Dad, just give me 2 or 3 years, just let me try it by myself.
Mm,
And yeah, I did that, and then I was like, okay, I need my dad. I need him to watch me now, how much I have improved, because he wasn't there for every single fight now for 2 3 years, and that's how it worked out. He was like, he really, yeah, how should I say that? He could see me improving, and I was like, all right, that's my business. I have to do that. I can't. I'll just finish my sports school where I was at like for 3 4 years, and then I just want to focus on boxing and want to become better and have my own path in boxing.
So what was it about boxing? Why did that sport draw you in so much to where you wanted to make that your profession?
You mean why I wanted to become professional?
Yeah, or just why did you decide that boxing what you want? Like what about boxing do you love that made you draw you into it to
I
want to
didn't
pursue it?
decide it. My dad put me into it, and then
Right.
somewhere at some point I was like, all right. I mean, my I've been doing that my whole life, and I'm
Gotcha.
skilled at it. God gave me the skills and the ability for it. I'll do it.
All right. So I want to go into your amateur career because you had a very good overall amateur career, very established yourself. When you reflect back on your amateur run, how special was that for you? Just what are the memories that come to mind when you think about your amateur career?
Let me say, like for the first 7 8 years, it was like I wasn't really allowed because of my like I didn't have the citizenship,
Right.
Austrian citizenship, so I wasn't really able to represent Austria officially. So for 7 8 years, most of my fights were like in Austria or a little bit
We're frozen.
outside,
There we
like
go.
the
We'll add him back here in 1 second, folks. I'll go on a quick break and then we'll get him back in here. All right, so welcome back, everyone.
all right.
No, we'll get right back to that question. Obviously, I was talking about when you think back about your amateur career, what are the memories that come to mind? And just what was your overall amateur career like?
So as I was like talking about it for 7 8 years, I was like straight because in Austria and all these surrounding counties, I was just fighting there and gaining my experience. By like the year of 2018, I finally got the citizenship of Austria, and I was able to compete like at the bigger tournament and all that. That's what I really gained a lot of experience. 2019, that was like probably my biggest amateur year. I fought the World Championships and I fought the European Games in Belarus, and yeah, that was basically it. 2020, I was a qualifier, and yeah, 2020, the pandemic started as well. So the Olympics, it was like kind of, are they really happening? Are they not? Are they canceling the world qualifier? So I didn't really know what was going on there. Yeah, that was when I decided I wanna go somewhere else where boxing is better and go to the pros.
All right, so you turn pro at 23 years old. Walk us through that decision. At that point in time, you turn pro. Would you say that you look at your career, 12-0 in your career so far? Has your pro career gone according to plan? Has it gone a little bit less than you expected? Or how would you say your pro career has been to this point in time?
I would say everything, thank God, has been going well. I just have
Right.
to keep going and do what I do and put in the hard work, and everything else comes step by step.
All right, so let's hop into your pro career now. You do two fights. You end up signing with 360 Promotions and Tom Loeffler, and then you end up taking off
Mhm.
about 16 months in between your second and third fight. Can you take us to that decision? Like, what led to that situation where you had to take that much time off?
I mean, between my second and third fight,
Correct. Yeah.
yeah, because my first and second fight I had here in Europe, and that was
Right.
like the transition from Europe to America and handling with all the visa and moving there and living there. And all. It wasn't easy because when I came to America the first time. I came back home to Austria. In between, I had to wait for my visa like for 10 months. And I was really able I was really able to fight between, uh, um, like in between that break. And yeah, that's why it took so long.
Gotcha. Now, as you've continued to develop with him, I want to ask about Tom Loeffler. Obviously, he's a very great promoter. He's been on the show before. I want to ask about him. When you talk about the impact he's had in your career, your life to this point, how big has that been for you?
Uh, Tom's definitely the biggest support with my coach and the rest of the team in my team, and it really had a big impact for me, and it's should I say that I'm really blessed and to have someone like that in my team.
All right, so I have to ask about your future plans now. On BoxRec, it does say that you're going to be fighting October 3rd. Is that something that's already been confirmed? Will you be fighting then? Is that just a tentative date schedule for yourself, or when can we see you back in the ring?
I think the next fight is planned October with the opponent and what kind of fight. There is not much more I know of right now, or I can really tell. So
Okay.
we'll just have to wait until we announce it.
Absolutely. So when you look at your upcoming fight, what type of fight are you looking for? Is it going to be another step up fight, staying busy type of fight, or what can we expect potentially in that fight in October?
Um, well, I don't really much my coach to send me the next opponent.
All right. All right. So I do want to look at this aspect as well, Umar. When you look at your future, obviously you're 27 years old. You're quickly rising up there in the ranks in terms of top prospects at the light heavyweight division. When you look at the next year and a half, that would put you heading into 2027. Where do you see yourself at that point in time in terms of accomplishments, standing, awards, accomplishments, whatever it might be? Where do you see yourself heading into 2027?
Um, well, I don't want to. I'm not that kind of guy who likes to predict and I can't see what's in the future. Only God can. So I just do my work as I always did, and hope and I work for to be on the top in the next 2 3 years, definitely.
Okay. I do want to pick your mind on a couple different light heavyweight things going on right now to see what you think about them. One of which is that we do know there's a big trilogy supposed to happen. Better be a Bivol. Obviously, there seems to be a little bit of delays going on in that situation right now. But when you look at that situation, if the trilogy does get made between those two, who do you have winning it?
For the third fight,
Correct. Yep.
hard to tell. It's every fight of them, like the first and second, has been 50-50 fight for me. Better be is a tremendous puncher, definitely. Everybody knows. And Bivol's got a great footwork and movement and IQ in boxing. So every fight has been 50-50 fight for me. Um, with better BS punching power, you can't predict anything in that fight. So we'll just wait and see what, what will be the outcome of that fight. I just hope it happens as soon as possible because, um, I mean, time's running and better beer isn't the youngest.
Yep. I think a huge thing about that is that obviously I know Better BF came out and basically said what you just said, that hey, he wants to make the fight soon. Bill, for some reason, apparently, obviously we don't know the facts yet, but apparently according to Better BF, he seemed to be delaying the fight for some reason. When you are somebody that's a contender, at the light heavyweight division, and those guys hold all the belts, obviously three of them at this point in time. What kind of motivation is in, and how quickly should this fight happen? Like, do you think the fight needs to happen this year in 2025, or are you okay with it happening in 2026?
I think this fight should be happening already in 2025 because when the first fight happened and Better Be a won, I think the second fight was like following within like a couple
Four
of
months
months.
later. Yep.
Yeah, 4 months later. I don't think it should be taking that long, but I don't know. I hope it doesn't take that long now, and it won't get pushed like in 2026. It would be great to watch it in 2025 because it's a big fight and it's very special for boxing as well.
100% agree. Then I'll have to ask you another thing. The press conference is currently going on right now. Benavidez, Anthony Yarde's been announced. Those guys are going to be fighting for a world championship. Who do you have winning that fight?
Which fight again?
The David Benavidez versus Anthony Yarde fight.
Oh, that's a good fight as well. Mm, hard to tell. I think probably Benavidez is gonna win.
Right.
But Yard is a good fighter. Uh, he's got good movement in boxing, and his style is like a little bit different. So, but I got Benavidez winning, but let's see.
All right, I like that. So I've got a couple more questions before I let you go, Umar. One of which is we know that there is a great relationship between Tom Loeffler, Dana White, and Dana White's also in the midst of creating, the TKO boxing. I know they're going to change the name eventually, but overall for right now it's called TKO boxing. Is that something that you would be? Is that something that you've talked to Tom yet? That you could be in association with that? Would that be something you're going to be a part of in the future, or what does that look like?
Well, there's not much I can tell right now, but in the future, when I am part of it, definitely, I'll be looking forward to it because it's something huge and it'll be first time something big like that. A big promoter like Dana White being in boxing, so it's definitely huge.
Right.
And yeah, I look forward to it.
Absolutely, man. So I got a couple questions, like I said before I let you go. One of which is in terms of your overall training camp. You're part of Wildcard Boxing. Your coach is Marvin overall, but we know Freddie obviously is overseeing all Wildcard Boxing. How did you get that opportunity? What brought you into Wildcard Boxing?
My very good friend, I got a very good friend in LA, so that's when I first time moved over to America,
Right.
and he took me to Wildcard. And yeah, that's how everything took its run down off, and I got introduced to everyone and met all these great people who are part of my team right now.
All right. Well, Umar, I have one final question for you. It's the question I like wrapping up every interview with, and that's talking about your legacy. When the day does come, you put down the gloves. What do you want to be remembered for what you have accomplished both inside and outside of the ring?
I'd say um, what I want to be remembered for.
Correct. Yep.
I want to be remembered for the I'm someone like who really gave it all and achieved his goals and who can show everyone like in the world. For someone like me, like who grew up, who was born like somewhere in the mountains, been like so many places in the world, been through many things, been poor and making money and achieving like his goals to show them that it is possible. Like I want to be one part of all these guys who are like taking part in documentaries and movies where like they achieved it. I want to be
Right.
that.
I love that. Absolutely, Umar. I appreciate that. That's awesome, man. So, Umar, I appreciate you taking time to come on in, man. It's been a blessing and honor having you on the show, and I cannot wait to see what God's got in store for you, man.
Absolute pleasure, bro. Thanks for having me, and hopefully see you soon in the future.
Of course, you're always welcome on, man. God bless.
Thank
I appreciate you guys all for tuning into that interview. I'll have that clipped up, edited out, and then posted on my YouTube channel after the show is complete in just a couple of hours. So I appreciate you guys all for tuning into that portion of the show. I'm going to go on a short break, and then we're going to hop into previewing the massive fight card going down in Ring 4, going down tomorrow between Shakur-Stevenson and Williams-Zepeda. You have the sorry, I'm drawing a blank right now, but you have Shakur, you have the Edgar Berlanga-Sheeraz. All that card will be broken down in just a couple of short minutes. So if you guys have any other topics or comments you guys want me to discuss on today's show, leave it in the chat and we'll be getting right to that very shortly. I'll see you guys in a couple of minutes. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the SchuZ Show. I hope you guys are having an incredible Friday. With that being said, it is time to get into the remainder of today's show, in which I'll be breaking down the top boxing news going down right now, and then we're going to wrap up with a preview of the mega card going down tomorrow with the Ring Magazine card heading out to the Queens, New York, going down tomorrow. Now, I want to make this very clear first and foremost. I'm going to give you guys a boxing update in terms of the news right now, and then we'll head into the preview going on. So what I do want you guys to do, though, if you guys have any comments or topics you guys want me to discuss, add them in the comment section of the chat, and I'll make sure to address them on the show. I'll also be adding up a feature in a few moments now, where once you guys' comments come up, they should pop up on the screen, and I will then address them at that point in time. Let's get right to it, though. The news I want to start off the show with is this, and I'm going to make this very clear before I go any further. I'm somebody that lives by one standard. You're innocent until proven guilty. Therefore, what I'm going to say right now will only be the facts of what we know regarding Gervonta Tank Davis. I will not be giving my thoughts on him overall as a person, so on and so forth. Yes, he has a track record. Yes, he has a history. Those things are separate from this right now. If this comes out to be true, that he's guilty of the accusations that's now been coming out, then I'll be giving my thoughts on that directly involving him and what my thoughts are of him and as a person going forward at that point in time. But here's what we do know as of this morning. Gervonta Tank Davis was arrested early Friday morning in South Florida. The WBA lightweight champion is accused of hitting his ex-girlfriend on the back of the head and slapping her, sources tell. More details on this. Davis was stopped in Miami Beach after a license plate reader alerted cops to him. The alleged incident with his ex-girlfriend happened a few weeks ago, and he has been wanted by police since then. Police say that Davis and his ex-girlfriend, who shared 2 children, got into a heated argument during a Father's Day pickup that turned physical. When she leaned into his car to retrieve one of the children, Davis allegedly struck and slapped her, prompting her to text her mother for help. As I said, those details in and of themselves, if they were to be guilty, I would be giving my clear thoughts on that, which would be that he has no place in boxing. But I'm not going to judge or say anything else in regards to this matter until more details come out and if he's proven guilty. That's the way I handle business for everybody, so I'm not going to switch up in this situation now. But I want to give those thoughts and the facts that we do know at this point in time. The only thing that I can't add on to this right now is I do believe this does put in danger the Tank Davis versus Lamont Roach rematch. The rematch is supposed to happen in nearly 4 weeks on August 16th. That was the date that everyone has been saying. But at this point in time, we have yet to hear an alert or notification in regards to that fight happening. There's been no promotion of it, and due to those factors, it no longer looks like a fight that could be happening. And then now that we know kind of this backstory that the past 4 weeks has been on a warrant, so on and so forth, it does make things a little bit more interesting. So I do think that this arrest possibly leads to the fact that that fight date will be pushed back or might not even happen at all. We will see what happens there. But I just want to give you guys the facts. That's what we know as of today. Other news. The WBO has now ordered Denzel Bentley to face Saavedra in a final eliminator. The winner will be the mandatory challenger for Janabek. This is a massive fight to make. I like Denzel Bentley. I've been waiting for him to get back in that ring and return. This is a good fight to make. I don't think either guy will beat Janabek, to be honest. I feel like the only guys that could possibly upset or defeat Janabek at this point in time would be Carlos Adames. That's the only guy I see. Obviously, Laura has that sneaky power, but overall, the only guy that could possibly beat Janabek would be Carlos Adames. That's my thoughts on this one. So I feel like the winner of that fight would still lose to him, but I like this fight being made as a final eliminator. The final boxing news I want to get into today. Richardson Hitchins. He made this tweet just a little bit ago. Let's make the biggest unification match in the division right now. Y'all know I've been saying I'm the best in the division. If you don't believe it, I'll prove it by stepping on Teofimo. Perfect fight to make. I have said this ever since the Richardson-Hitchins fight came out. I thought he was going to call out Teofimo Lopez. Instead, he calls out Devin Haney, which did not make a lot of sense unless he planned on moving up to 147. But he plans on staying at 140. So the guy that stepped up into that ring after the fight was Teofimo Lopez. That's the fight to make. I don't think that there's a better fight for either guy to make at this point in time. Teo had a better fight available for the Devin Haney one, but obviously he blew that one. So if he's staying at 140, the fight for Teofimo to make is going out there and fighting Richardson Hitchins. And for Hitchins, vice versa. That's the fight to make. I hope they get the deal done. It's a big-time unification. It would be huge to have that be hosted in New York. Make that fight happen. I'm all for it. All right. Let's get into the Ring 4 card. This is going to be an incredible card going down at Louis Armstrong Stadium in Queens, New York. This is going to be a good fight, folks. I know a lot of people are highly anticipating it. I've given my thoughts briefly at multiple different times throughout the show the past couple of weeks. But now let's do our official fight preview of this 5-fight card going down tomorrow in the evening/night. Let's hop right into the main event. Edgar Berlanga versus Hamzah Sheeraz, super middleweight main event. This fight is going to be interesting. I've said this just a couple days ago. I don't think that this was the right fight to choose for a headlining. This is a good fight. I like the fight a lot, but I feel like Turkey's learning this as well. Promoting the fight around these two guys has to have a large part of why the ticket sales are not going very well for this fight. Obviously, the fact that it's also in Louis Armstrong and the Queens makes it a difficult travel for New Yorkers, but still, when you talk about boxing, you have to factor in many things. There is only a handful of guys that have true legitimate star power. And when I say star power, I'm saying guys that could go anywhere in the world and sell out. There is a handful of guys that could possibly do that. Neither one of those two guys are these two. And it's no disrespect to either one, but Hamzah Sheeraz has never fought in America. He's a good fighter, well known in the UK, not in America. So he was not going to bring much to this card in terms of attraction, ticket sales, so on and so forth. As for Edgar Berlanga, he is a man that, let's just be honest, he is talented, he's very good in all those things, sure. I feel like his branding and who he is more so because of his mouth, the more so because of his attention he brings to himself, and more so because a lot of people like to make fun of him than it is as truly being a genuine star force in boxing. That is why having this be the main event is a little bit, makes you scratch your head a little bit. Does not make a lot of sense, but it is the main event, so let's break it down. Berlanga, 23-1 with 18 KOs in his career. He'll be facing the British contender Hamzah Sheeraz, 21-0-1 with 17 KOs in a WBC title eliminator at 168. All right. Hamzah Sheeraz was at 160. He fought Carlos Adames. Now, there supposedly was injuries, so on and so forth. It is what it is. He did not look good. He should have a loss on his record. That fight against Carlos Adames was in no way, shape, or form a draw. That was a loss for Hamzah Sheeraz. He decides to move up to 168 now. And I feel like that's the perfect weight class for him at this point in time. I feel like he was cutting weight pretty tough at 160. So now he's going to be at 168. So I do expect to see a very good version of Hamzah Sheeraz tomorrow. I feel like we're going to see a man that's rejuvenated. The weight cut should not impact him too much. I feel like he's going to be very energetic, strong. I feel like it's going to be the best he probably felt heading into a ring in a very long time. Edgar Berlanga always has that one punch power that he always brings to the table. He has an early knockout streak. He obviously lost to Canelo Alvarez and that entire skeptical right there that happened. But he wants to reassert himself as a top contender, while obviously Sheeraz is under a new trainer, Andy Lee, and is stepping into the ring. Here's the thing. Sheeraz, what I like about him is his extreme length. He is very sharp. He is great at footwork, his balance. He's a very technically sound boxer overall. Berlanga, not so much. He fades more towards the back end of fights, and also Edgar Berlanga is a man that needs that power. He's a man that's going for that one-punch power. Therefore, you can never rule him out. He's going to be a guy that has that equalizing force with his hand. Now, it's not, always going to be leading to a knockout, but he does have great knockout power. And so for Edgar Berlanga, his main goal is go clip Hamzah Sheeraz. I don't see any route in which Edgar Berlanga will win this fight on points. If this fight goes to the distance, Hamzah Sheeraz will be your winner. I don't see any other way around that. Edgar Berlanga will need a KO to beat Hamzah Sheeraz in this fight. I think, therefore, that Hamzah Sheeraz will win this fight. Now, obviously, like I said, don't rule us out. Berlanga has that knockout power potential right there. But Hamzah Sheeraz going into this fight has the overall technically sound boxer. He's a man that's very skilled. He also does have knockout power. And I believe that it will go to decision. Hamzah Sheeraz will emerge victorious. His jab and composure will frustrate Berlanga. I think it's going to lead to him stealing a lot of rounds, especially in the second half of the fight. I feel like Hamzah Sheeraz, if it gets to that point, he could easily go on a run where he wins rounds 6-12. And that would also separate him given the win in that fight. Berlanga might clip a few rounds in the very beginning of the fight, but Sheeraz will be ready to go throughout all 12 rounds, and I think that will lead to the victory for him. But obviously, as I said, Berlanga does have that knockout power. That is something to keep an eye on throughout that fight. Let's go to the co-main event, and I'm going to say this real quickly before I go any further. The co-main event featuring Shakur Stevenson and William Dzambekov, that, in my opinion, should be the main event. That's the most talked about and the biggest fight. The best fight is Alberto Puello fighting Puello-Matias, who I'll break down after this next fight. But that's the way I think it should be. That's going to be the best fight. The biggest fight is obviously going to be Shakur Stevenson and William Dzambekov. So let's break it down. I gave my thoughts a couple days ago in regards to Shakur Stevenson. This fight is for the WBC lightweight title. William Dzambekov has earned his right to get a shot at Shakur. I have no problem with the fight being made. In fact, I think it had to get made. This is the fight that we wanted. It had to happen. But also, let me just be honest with you guys. I don't feel like there's any route and any path that William Dzambekov will beat Shakur Stevenson in this fight. He does not have great KO power. He's a man that's going to put great pressure on him, which I know some people look at and say, hey, that pressure should be the biggest neutralizing factor for Shakur Stevenson. I don't feel like that's the case. I personally feel like the only way to possibly beat Shakur Stevenson is by knocking him out. If you don't knock out Shakur Stevenson, he is going to beat you by points every single time. That's just my point of view on that. And that's why when I looked at possible guys who could ever beat Shakur, and this was obviously I made this statement back when Keyshawn Davis was still at 135, I said guys like Keyshawn, I said guys like Tank Davis, guys with incredible knockout power that could clip him possibly, only need one punch and could knock him out. Those are the only guys that could possibly beat Shakur Stevenson. Because if you get to round 12 and that final bell rings, guess what? Shakur Stevenson's likely going to be the victor in that fight. So I don't feel like this is going to be a very competitive fight. It's going to be a statement by Shakur Stevenson. This will be a Shakur Stevenson masterclass, in my opinion. I might be wrong here. And if I am, I'll gladly admit that on Monday when I come back alive. But Shakur Stevenson, this is a man that I do not see losing this fight. He is debatably, if not the most technically sound and the best defensive fighter in all boxing right now. Say what you want about running. He has done running before, and I don't like those stuff. But for the most part, there's a big difference between what Shakur Stevenson does in the ring and what William Sco did against Canelo Alvarez. Big difference. There is a difference between running and being extremely technically sound. Now, has Shakur Stevenson ran before? Has he done those things? Without a shadow of a doubt. But the vast majority of the time, what Shakur Stevenson does in the ring is not run around, and he's just very technically sound. And that's something I will never critique or fault because that is mastering boxing. And if you don't like it, you just want guys to go fight their Mexican style, Japanese style, then guess what? That's not all boxing is. The point of boxing is to hit more than you get hit. And Shakur Stevenson has mastered that portion of his ability. Now let's break down the fight more specifically. Shakur Stevenson is 23-0 with 11 KOs in his career. He defends his WBC lightweight title against Mexico's William Dzambekov, who is 33-0 with 27 KOs. Dzambekov is a relentless puncher. Here's the facts about Dzambekov. He is going to punch at an extremely high output. That's what he does. He doesn't necessarily have one punch knockout power, but he does overwhelm his opposition. He goes after the guys and throws a gazillion punches every single round. He is a Mexican-style fighter. That's what he does. Now, Shakur, Olympic silver medalist, 3-divisional champion, known for his elite defense and ring IQ. Dzambekov is the interim WBC champion, and he is coming off of 2 very close wins against Tevin Farmer. The first one, very controversial. The second one was a clear victory, in my opinion. Listen, when you look at these two guys, Dzambekov is a good fighter. But I feel like if you were to make a tiers list for the guys at 135, he is clearly a tier or 2 even, I believe, below Shakur Stevenson. And we're going to see that happen in the ring on Saturday. Shakur Stevenson, if he goes out there and gets a KO, I would be thoroughly impressed. That would be the statement to make him be known without a shadow of doubt as the best guy at 135. I already perceive him as that. I think Shakur is the best guy at 135. But if he has a knockout tomorrow evening, Shakur Stevenson will solidify himself as being that guy at 135. And I don't think there can be much debate about that. But in this fight, I see Shakur Stevenson emerging victorious by decision. I think his control of range, his counterpunching, is going to neutralize Zepeda's volume. I believe that Zepeda might throw a lot of punches, but it's not going to connect. I do think he'll have a higher connect ratio than typical opponents against Shakur Stevenson, but I still don't feel like it's going to be a situation where he can possibly emerge victorious against Shakur. Let's head over to what I believe is the best fight tomorrow going down. Albert Puello versus Puello-Matias. The WBC junior welterweight title is on the line. All right. Let's rewind back to when Alberto Puello fought in the ring before. He fought Sandor Martin, and I believe Sandor Martin was robbed in that fight. I don't see any way that Puello possibly emerged victorious from that fight. That was a clear win for Sandor Martin. That's the way I saw the fight and the way I scored it. However, it's boxing. Things happen. Alberto Puello is still your world champion. He now faces a guy in Puello-Matias. For those of you that do not know Matias, this is a man that was regarded as the boogeyman at 135. This was a scary man at 135. He had all the people talking about him. He was the most feared man at 135. And then he fought Liam Paro. Styles make fights, and we saw that come to fruition in that fight, where Liam Paro ran circles around Matias. He never allowed himself to get clipped by Matias, and it led to Matias losing his belt. He had a couple fights, brought himself back into position, and he's fighting for the world championship once again tomorrow now. This will be interesting. Subriel Matias, in my opinion, is the man that I see winning this fight. But let me break down why I believe this and go through this entire duration of the fight. Alberto Puello, he is 24-0 with 10 KOs. He defends his belt against the Puerto Rican knockout artist Subriel Matias, 22-2 with 22 KOs. Now, that does not mean he has a 100% KO ratio. I've made that clear before. But Every single win that Matias has in his resume has come by way of knockout. That says something about you. That shows that you have legitimate, scary knockout power, and he has proven that time and time again. Puello is a very slick, talented fighter. He is a man that has a great resume. He's beat Gary Antoine Russell. He's beat Sandor Martin in theory. Now, for Matias, he's the former IBF world champion. Every single win has come by knockout they just talked about. Puello has much better footwork. He has great counters, and he has far better defense. He will be superior in all those different ways against Matias. Here's the thing about Matias, though. He has relentless pressure, high work rate, but most importantly, he has knockout power. Once again, that power is not always going to be one punch knockout power. He is relentless in his pressure. He typically takes off round one, so I believe Puello will win that round. But after that, he finds his groove and he goes on the attack. Right when he gets on the attack, it's going to be relentless pressure after relentless pressure with high volume and power backing up that power. We saw him against Liam Paro. He didn't pull out that power. He didn't go out. He was not relentless in that fight, and that's what cost him the belt. Hopefully made that proper adjustments in his game to go out there and have a better performance now. But if Matias does his job, he shows that pressure and he goes on the attack with the power, he could get Puello out of there quite early on. And that's the thing. If Puello can emerge victorious and withstand the early storm by Matias from rounds about 2 to 5 or 6, Puello should be able to emerge victorious. I don't see Matias, he never has, I don't think he will, be able to go 12 rounds with that power and pressure. If it gets to round 6, 7, 8, probably 7, I'd say specifically, and Puello's still standing, things could change quickly. Matias will likely win rounds 2 to 5. That seems like a given for me. If he wins those rounds and if Puello can obviously get through those rounds and then go from round 6 and on, Puello will emerge victorious. But my thing is that Puello is getting older. I think Matias is still overall young. I know they're not too far apart in age, but still, Matias has that power. If he can go out there and get Puello out, that's what I think will happen between rounds 2 and 6. But if this fight gets past that and it gets to decision specifically, Puello will win. This is going to be a very interesting thing because his ringmanship, his defense, and his overall ring IQ should be able to help himself emerge victorious against Matias. But I feel like that relentless power, the pressure Matias, that's going to wear on and give Matias the win by mid-round stoppage. That's the way I see that fight going down. Let's go to the last fight I want to break down on tomorrow's card. David Morrell, Imam, Khataev, light heavyweight clash. I love this fight. David Morrell fought David Benavidez earlier this year in what was a very great fight. Benavidez ran laps around in my opinion, but still was a very entertaining fight. For David Morrell, he's 11-1 with 9 KOs. He'll be facing the unbeaten Russian puncher Imam Khataev, 10-0, 9 KOs. This is a great fight going down at light heavyweight right now. I talked about Khataev just a couple days ago. He has his PED issue. This is a man that is suspended by one governing body, but this governing body is going to allow him to fight. Confusing situation. For some reason, nobody asked me any questions about it. We have no clarity on it. He's suspended by one body, not by the other. I have no idea what to say about that. It's ridiculous, but that's another situation. The point is, the fight is going down. David Morrell is coming off his very first career loss. That is going to be interesting. For a lot of boxers, when they lose, they don't always come back for a fight against a guy of this caliber. They want to rebuild themselves. David Morrell is getting right back to work against a very talented fighter, a man that's never lost in his career, 10-0, 9 KOs. Interesting decision, but it'll be interesting to see how he bounces back. Khataev is an Olympic bronze medalist, good power, but he has never fought guys at the elite level like David Morrell. Morrell is a southpaw, slick movement, sharp counters, while Khataev is aggressive, heavy hands, and strong physique. Morrell made a quote a little bit ago. He said he's in beast mode, and he wants to make a statement, while Khataev wants to be the next better BF. This will be overall Khataev's biggest test yet, and that's why, listen, I could be wrong here. I really do enjoy watching Khataev fight. He's a good fighter, very skilled. He's going to be a big player at 175 for the foreseeable future. But the big difference here is this. David Morrell has been against big opposition throughout his career already. He has fought on massive stages just as recently as his last fight against David Benavidez. I believe that understanding of the situational awareness is going to help David Morrell come out victorious against Khataev. This will be a fight where I think Morrell will win and emerge by late stoppage. I think experience and conditioning should break down Khataev and give him the win by either decision or late stoppage. But overall, it's going to be an incredible fight. With that being said, that wraps up my summary and my preview of tomorrow's card going down, Ring 3. It should be a great card overall to watch. But with that being said, I see no comments in the chat anymore. So let's hop right into this. I hope you guys have an incredible remainder of you guys Friday. Enjoy the fights tonight on the all women's championship card going down at Madison Square Garden. Enjoy tomorrow's card going down in Queens, New York. I hope you guys have a blessed weekend. Have a great rest of you guys Friday as well. May God bless you guys all. I'll see you guys back live on Monday's show. I hope you guys have a blessed weekend. May God bless you guys all. And with that being said, SchuZ out. I'll see you guys Monday. God bless you guys.